I had never seen animals in my entire life. Like, it is a plethora of deep fried things. Oh, in the best way possible.
I had a milkshake.
I had a deep fried. It was the equivalent amount of oil, so I think give it a check box. But it was really good.
No, you're fine. We're like just getting ourselves situated.
Yeah,
No worries. Come on in. You guys are welcome to.
I walked around as much as I could during the lunch break.
Yeah, there's plenty of space.
Yeah, feel free to join us at the table.
Yeah.
Thank you. You like the meeting?
It did. Like you
No worries.
had said, I think it's common.
He's doing like a different.
Yeah. Other people
Yeah.
I couldn't find something. Just gonna sit here and out more about what.
This seems next to Sam too.
So, yeah, like it would be nice to know. Throwing money that I'm ready.
Yeah.
This morning we got out of the Montgomery. Yeah, go find that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Don't worry
Thanks
about
so
it.
much for
He's like, it took us a little while to get it.
Okay.
So, all right. I think that,
I'm gonna try to come in the core.
Yeah.
okay. I think we are all here now, so welcome everyone. Thanks so much everyone for joining. Yeah, this is our January Food Policy Council Leadership Team meeting, and we're really excited to have everyone from Ursinus joining us this morning. Let's see. We usually start with kind of some introductions and like an icebreaker. Let's see, maybe I'll stop sharing my screen for a minute just so we can all have everyone, there we go, on our tilted Zoom screen here. We tried to fix it as best we could do. Yeah. But I don't know, maybe Lauren or Danielle, if you want to give a quick kind of just overview of the class, what you've been up to this last week, and then we can start with just kind of a round of introductions.
Sure. So I'm Lauren Wynn, a professor of anthropology at Ursinus College, and my colleague Danielle Woodman-Abraham in religious studies, and I are leading a 1-week program. This is a new thing at Ursinus called Experiential Learning Week, where all first-year students and some upperclassmen who opt in get to do some sort of experiential learning. So a lot of students are doing like shadowing at different places of employment. Others are doing skill-based workshops, like learning a new software. Ours is very much focused on what communities and individuals are doing to address food insecurity. So we've visited Martha's Choice Community Farm and Marketplace. We visited the Power Packs program through the Perkiomen Valley School District. And yesterday afternoon, we went to Ann's Heart in Phoenixville. So students are getting an opportunity to do some work to address food insecurity and also see how people in our community are working to feed their neighbors. Having us here.
Yeah. Thanks for joining. So yeah, let's do kind of just a quick round of intros. People want to just say their name and for the students, you want to say maybe kind of like what year you are and what you're studying, and then for everyone else, introduce just kind of your role. And let's see, I had a different icebreaker question. Let's start to work. Okay, so let's do, I think we've done this one before, but it's one of my favorites. Something, a food or drink, something that you don't like. I feel like it always gets a little controversial. I guess I'll start us off and we can go around and then we'll get to folks online. So my name is Sam Applefield. I'm the food policy coordinator in the Office of Public Health. And I really don't like coffee. Never had coffee. Yeah, I love the smell, but I don't like the taste of it. So turn it over to you.
I'm Len Posabak. I'm a junior at Ursinus studying anthropology, sociology, and dance with a minor in food studies. And I don't like strong smells, so like cinnamon.
I'm Mary Millenbach. I'm a freshman at Ursinus and I'm interested in studying history and education. And the food I don't like is carrots when they're cooked.
I'm Quenny Shiklak. I'm here representing Liberty Resources. I work for the counties of Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery as an independent living specialist. And I don't like avocado.
Hi, Emily. I'm a junior. I'm a music major, specifically history and culture. One food that I don't like is carrot sticks. I like cooked carrots.
Interesting. There are differences going on.
I'm Nicole Melia. I'm the food service director at Norristown Area School District. And I don't really care for pineapple.
I'm Yannette. I'm a math major and a French minor, and I'm a sophomore. And I don't dislike food, but I don't like mustard.
I'm Kenzie Nardone. I'm a freshman at Ursinus. I am undecided, but I think I'm gonna go the forensic psychology route. And I don't like seafood of any type.
I am Danielle Woodman Abraham. I'm a professor of mostly Islamic studies, but religion and precarity and the politics of care. And I also don't like seafood, so it's funny that we're next to each other.
I'm Abraham El Said. I'm a psychology major, I'm a freshman, and I don't like sweet tea.
Anne Levick Gruberger. I work here in this office at the county's planning commission. I'm on the food policy council leadership team. I feel like I'm in a room of kindred spirits. I don't like coffee. I don't like seafood. I also don't like cherries.
I am Shannon Isaacs. I'm one of the co-vice chairs of the Food Policy Council. I also work for Montco Anti-Hunger Network, which is a backbone agency for food security in Montgomery County, and I don't like mushrooms.
I'm Rachel. I run a small vegetable farm in Noblesville, and I also run a land access program for small beginning farmers. And I think that I don't have a food I don't like.
Oh, not one.
Yeah.
Again, I'm Lauren, anthropologist and coordinator of our food studies program at Ursinus. I like some seafood, but I really don't like shrimp.
Okay, we'll go to the folks online. Vernon, do you want to go first?
I'm Vernon Ross, and I'm a member of this council, and I do not like cauliflower.
Juliana, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, I'm Juliana. I'm a senior manager with the Food Trust, our Farm to School program, and I'm also a member of the Food Policy Council. One food I don't like, I'm afraid to share this because I think I'm going to get a lot of hate, but I just don't like mac and cheese. I'm sorry. Sorry. I know, Carla. I knew I was going to get bad reactions, but yes, sorry.
No shame, no food shame.
Davey, you want to go next?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Davy Rumkasoon. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer in Montgomery County, and I am a vegetarian, so suffice it to say I don't like any meat whatsoever.
Thanks, Davey. I think there are a number of vegetarians on the leadership team. That's all included. It's true. All right, Carla, I think you're up next.
My name is Carla Clanigan. I am the Deputy Chief Program Officer at Share Food Program. We're the lead agency running government food through our counties, actually 5 counties. Food, so this is why I'm saying no shame, Juliana, because I too am afraid to say what I don't like, but I really, really don't like beans. Any kind. I don't like them at all. Look at Vernon, Pastor, you're like, I don't like beans. I don't like the texture. I'm like beans, bananas, don't like it.
mushy.
Just did a pot of beans last week.
Nope.
All right, I think we have Jenny and then Shanita to round us out.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Jenny Butler. I serve as Executive Director of Montgomery County's Workforce Development Board and also on the Food Policy Council. I'd love to say there's not a single thing that I don't like, but I think in my old age, I have developed a bit of an aversion to garlic, which has resulted in me having to turn away things that I would have normally eaten.
Got it. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Thanks for sharing, Jenny. All right, Shanita, do you want to go last here?
Good morning. I'm Shanita Fields. I'm a community health educator in the Office of Public Health, and I'm also a member of the Policy Council. And in my role, I do nutrition and gardening programs throughout the county. A food I don't like, I'm gonna go with mayonnaise. I don't mind it being mixed in like potato salad or things that need mayonnaise, but I don't like to taste it. I get grossed out. I order my burgers with no mayonnaise, and if they put it on, I take a napkin and wipe it off.
Thanks everyone for sharing. It's yeah, fun to hear about everyone's aversions. All right, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here. So yeah, just to go over our agenda. So we have next we'll do public comment. Then we'll approve our December meeting minutes. We'll do some updates from our working groups and a handful of other updates. And I think we probably talk about the new committees. I think we're probably not going to do the 2026 work plan just because I didn't get to putting that together before the meeting. So yeah, that's what we have on tap here today. I guess before we go to public comment, just want to officially welcome Nicole, who's our newest leadership team member. Thanks so much for joining, Nicole, and excited to have you on board with us.
Yeah, very happy to be here.
Okay, so yeah, next on our agenda we have public comment. If you know, we have members of the public who are here today. So Juanisha, if there's anything in particular, you know, about Liberty Resources or anything you wanted to share, then or you know, questions you had for the about the Food Policy Council, this is kind of an opportunity for you to share that. And then also I think you can go back to all the visiting students and, you know, curious to hear. Shannon and I spoke with the class on Tuesday and said like, all right, well, when you come back on Friday, we're going to want to hear like, what do you guys do? What did you learn? What are you thinking about? So, so we'll give you a minute to prepare and see if you have any thoughts you want to share. But yeah, Juanisha, go ahead.
Yes. So Liberty Resources works with people with disabilities to help them get services in the area that helps them live more independently in their community. And right now, because of Medicare changes and Medicaid changes, we have a lot of consumers who will no longer get their PSA hours. Those are hours with attendant care, like I have my attendant right there, because the state is cutting them for a bunch of different reasons. And sometimes these cuts mean cuts to benefits like mom's meals or Meals on Wheels. So this is affecting people with disabilities because it helps them keep a nutritious diet. But I need some resources on where they could go. Now, a lot of our consumers, they are physically disabled as well, so they can't necessarily get to a pantry. So services that work with their existing Medicaid and deliver food for them would really be helpful to people in my community.
Yeah, go ahead, Shane.
So at Montco Anti-Hunger Network, if you go to montcoantihunger.org, you can get a list of every single place in Montgomery County you can access emergency food. I can give you my email afterwards, and we have a list of everywhere that offers delivery services. And we can give you a list of those places specifically so that you can circulate those around.
Thank you. We have a Liberty Light newsletter that gives updates on things that is happening with Liberty resources. I would love to get contact information for people here. That way we can also work together to distribute that and give people in this community in Montgomery the idea of what's going on at Liberty and how we can help us. But so any way you guys need me to distribute that, I definitely would. I just need contact information.
That's great. Since I got your email address here, I can share it out with the leadership team kind of after the meeting so that folks can reach out and sign up for the newsletter and be able, as you're saying, to kind of get that communication going in both directions. I think as Shannon mentioned, there are kind of like a number of different providers that can offer delivery services, but it really depends on kind of where, right? Like some of them are more place specific. Hopefully we'll have a chance to connect and look at that list and see if if some of those sites will work.
Is Liberty Resources based in Montco specifically?
We are now based in Montco, Delaware County, and Chester County, but our main office is in Philadelphia. We are currently working on a brick and mortar building in Delaware.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming and kind of highlighting that issue that needs something. We've talked a lot with this group about the cuts to SNAP and trying to plan for and mitigate some of those effects. And we've talked about how the changes to Medicaid that are coming, how we're going to need to try and coordinate with some of the other agencies, some of the other partners in HHS. So again, just appreciate you raising that issue. So that's something we can kind of bring back and try to work on. Anyone else thoughts or questions, ideas based on what Monisha shared? Great. Well then, curious if for our visitors from Ursinus, if anyone wants to share some of Laura mentioned some of the sites that you visited this week. If anyone wants to share, something, I think Shannon had asked like what some of your aha moments might have been. So anyone have any that they want to share? Anything interesting?
I'm sure they do.
There's a lot I want to say, but I feel like I can't really condense it and so I want other people to go first so I can share something that they didn't say.
I've done nonprofit work in the past, more for underfunded schools, and we've done pantry food drives and stuff like that. But I found it really interesting this week. I've never really specifically looked into the food supply and food insecurity specifically. And I feel over the course of the week, just noticing how much actually goes into it all. It really amazed me. It opened my eyes to that. And then also, I would say a lot of people that aren't as don't know everything that goes into it. I feel a lot of people just assume the food that is given out into the pantries and stuff is just kind of canned goods, beans and stuff like that. The people aren't always eating at home. You just give it to the pantries and the drives. However, I thought it was very interesting to see how Whole Foods are focused on and healthier options that are culturally correct for the group of people coming in to receive those foods. So I just felt that opened my eyes this week, and I was very happy to see that.
Yeah, thanks so much for sharing. That's great. I'm glad to hear that you're able to kind of to see a little bit more of kind of all the work and coordination that goes into getting that food to people and the work that you know a number of the people here are involved with of, as you were saying, making sure that that food is healthy and nutritious and culturally appropriate.
What location were you at?
We went to several different locations. Yeah, we did Ann's Heart. We did the care power packs out of one of the middle schools. And then we went to a farm.
Martha's Choice.
Yes. And then we also went to their pantry.
I think you raise a good point. Through my job here, I took a tour of Manna on Main Street, which has a lot going on. They have a food pantry, but they also have workforce training and a cafe that anyone can come and eat at. But in going behind the scenes, I saw a lot of what you're talking about, but I was amazed to see that their food was labeled in several different languages because they do have a multicultural clientele and they want to make sure that people understand what they're seeing. So things are labeled in French and Spanish and Korean and languages that frankly I don't recognize when I look at them, but I thought it was great. They were doing everything that they could to adapt to their clientele.
Anyone else have thoughts? Yeah.
Relating to what you're talking about, something I really appreciated was seeing how much effort is put into like not just meeting need generally, but meeting like almost individualized need, I guess. Because I was curious about how people with like food allergies or other like medical based food conditions or intolerances, how they are able to adapt, I guess, to having to go to these organizations and services. So I really appreciated seeing how they put a lot of time and effort into making sure that people were not only able to just get food that they would need nutritionally, but also like food that would fit their cultural preferences or like medical needs, or even just like with the Power Packs kids, they were saying that some people wouldn't like want certain food types, so they would try to accommodate those preferences because their main clients are children. So
yeah, I think that's a really good point. That's, you know, there's some element of it that's volume, right? Like how much food can you is needed and you know, meeting the demand and getting, you know, just food to people that you know, there's a lot more care and attention that goes into what kind of foods people need and what they prefer and will actually eat. I feel like that's a little bit what Shannon was talking about in the class on Tuesday about kind of the choice model. I don't remember if is PAX set up to use the choice model? Is that their pantry works?
I don't remember that they have like bagged like meals or like snacks.
We dropped all the food that we prepared yesterday off at PAX.
I see.
But only at the receiving area,
Gotcha.
so we didn't get to see the distribution side.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, I feel like that's kind of again the point that Shannon was making and talked about on Tuesday about kind of the dignity for folks to be able to choose, you know, which foods they want, which ones they will actually eat.
Martha's Choice mentioned that that had been their model historically, but particularly after the SNAP cuts, the volume of people that they are serving has so grown that they can no longer do that choice model, and now they have like a kind of limited choices, like but they're basically having to provide for people outside in the parking lot rather than having people come in and choose. They said that they would like to go back to that model if they can, but they don't foresee that that's ever going to happen at the moment. The demand is so great that they have to just be able to move food out, move people through. That was interesting to hear from them that choice model is no longer viable, just it's like structurally, operationally, because of
Right. Yeah, that's something, you know, we've talked about a little bit here, or maybe I can't remember, it's just conversations with Carla and Jen and others about whether it's, increasing demand as you saw kind of in response to the SNAP cuts, or just the decrease in supply, from other federal program cuts, that those are choices that some pantries are starting to look at. Do we have to reduce the choices, some of the other kind of practices that we put in place to be able just to get more food to people? All right, anyone else have any other thoughts they want to share on the week? Yeah.
Today we learned about, or most of us learned about like the report, food insecurity report that was done on our school particularly, and I was fascinated and like shocked to find out that like 17% of the 224 respondents reported like not having like at least some days where they didn't have any meals, even though like youth would think like in a school environment that has like meal plans and like a variety of like dining locations that they would be provided for.
Yeah. Food insecurity on college campuses is definitely a major issue. There's an organization called Resilient Students Network that based in Montgomery that does a lot of work trying to address that particular issue. Should follow up with, I don't know if either of you have a copy of that report, if you could share it with us, that'd be great.
I can send it to you.
Yeah. I know Bree had mentioned it before, but it'd be great to be able to take a look at it and maybe share it, and maybe use it as an example to share with other universities for how to be able to do that kind of assessment.
Yeah.
Because I think it's really helpful to have the data to be able to point to this is an issue on our campus and our community that we. Is there anything else you're gonna add to that?
I mean, I would say that it's common across the board, and some places the rates are as high as 40%. I think it's about 20% at Haverford College where they have a food pantry. So it's really an endemic issue in colleges.
I have a question about the emergency food pantry. On like this weekend is supposed to be a storm, so on weekends where there are weather, how does the emergency food pantry work for someone that may not be able to like get out or may not have anybody come to them? Are there still services in place with the weather that can allow somebody that may have disabilities and can't get out to get to the emergency pantries or have access?
I would say that varies from pantry to pantry. So some pantries, I would call in advance and sort of see what they can do to help. Some pantries offer delivery services, others don't. Some pantries will stay open if there's inclement weather, others won't be able to, sort of depending on what their staff support is. So I would just call and make sure you communicate. And I can send you that list that has all the phone numbers so that you can give them a call. I also wonder if Carla has another answer to that, because I know Cher has done a lot with home delivery.
Carla, any thoughts about? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I couldn't hear it really clear. What was the question?
We were talking about home delivery and pantries and inclement weather, and I was wondering if maybe you might have thoughts about where folks could get connected with home delivery, because I know you all have done a lot on home delivery. Maybe you have a list or how to connect with pantries if there's inclement weather and someone can't get out.
Yeah, so I can send that information. We are actually in the process, like as we speak, of trying to find out what's happening, who's closing early, even as early as today, like to prep. And then who is able to give us an effective and up-to-date home deliveries list. We technically no longer supply sites with like the cost for home deliveries, but it is something that we're working on funds for. So as far as who's closing, who's not closing, who's closing early, because some sites are reporting they're going to be closed on Tuesday as well. So we are working on that list as we speak. I can send it out to you all, Shannon and Sam, especially whenever we have all that information.
That'd be great. Thanks, Carla.
You're welcome.
Make an email chain after this with all of us to make sure you get everything.
Okay, thanks.
I know our fleet won't go out on Monday, so we're definitely prepared for nothing to happen Monday. We've already rescheduled. I mean, there's only 2 Monco sites that get deliveries from Share on Mondays, so they're already rescheduled.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I just wanted to acknowledge Juliana's comment in the chat there that Greener Partners recently got funding to extend their Norristown Healthy Food Project, which means they'll be doing some distributions at Hancock. That's elementary school, is that right? Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Great. Yes, that's coming up on Tuesday. It's really exciting. And
Hopefully it won't get canceled because of the storm, but
Right.
well, in the past, this was open to the community. I just emailed Amy just to confirm if it's gonna be, because in the past it was like right on the sidewalk, on the street. But like I'm just confirming if it's like if it's still gonna be there, if it's there, it's kind of like open to the community, or if they're gonna go down to the hill where there's in the school, and if it's just for the families of Hancock.
Yeah, thanks. Let us know once you have confirmation of that. But that's great to hear. That's exciting that that program will be able to continue this year. All right. Well, thank you guys for sharing some of your thoughts and reflections. And glad it sounds like you were able to have a really great week and got a lot covered. So I'm glad you know. All right, let's go ahead. We'll move along through our agenda here and go to approving our December meeting minutes. So I'm just going to pull those up quickly to reference. We did our working group updates, updates on our new leadership team members, and on the core community council. We did a debrief on the December general membership meeting. And talked about starting our 2 new committees, general membership meeting planning committee and policy committee. Yeah, that's I think what we did in December. Anyone have questions or comments on the December meeting minutes? Not seeing any. Let's take a vote. So all those in favor of approving the December meeting minutes, if you could raise a hand. Folks in the room first, okay, and then got folks online. You got everyone. Great, thank you all. So those are approved. Okay, so then we can go on to some working group updates. Let's see, Rachel, do you want to start with the network development?
Yeah, I guess I'll share a little bit more context too. So the network development working group put out a survey a couple months ago asking some and general residents what they were wanting from the leadership team and the council as a whole, and some feedback was just like a resource guide was one of the asks. So I don't know, are you able to pull up the Padlet?
Oh yeah, do that.
And yeah, thanks to I think Anne, you get the Padlet.
It was someone else's
Yeah, I'd
idea,
never heard of
but
this tool before.
I knew that it was easy to make, so
Yeah.
I thought I would just do it to give it a shot.
Yeah, it's just a public, almost like a public, corkboard kind of thing where you can post a bunch of stuff and it's completely open to the public. Anyone can add. We have different categories. So that's been like the big project that it's established now. I think it'll organically grow over time. And we're kind of just like trying to, be open to see how it'll flow and be moderated. And so that's the big project. And then I think moving forward, we're looking at just how do we engage more folks to the general membership meeting, whether that's sort of like an ambassador kind of program where we're just able to, elevate more people to have more of a voice here in the council. So still exploring what that actually is. So yeah, any questions on the resource board or anything you missed?
Trying to remember, in our last meeting, we talked about kind of like a time. So we like shared this with a small group for feedback and got positive feedback. And then we talked about kind of like a larger rollout sometime in February or March. Is that right?
Yeah. Everyone just continuing to share it. It's not like a
Where does this get housed? Like, where will it be accessed by the public or organizations, things like that?
Yeah, probably on the on our Food Policy Council website. We'll need to put a link to it there. Yeah. Jenny, seeing your comment in the chat about sharing an event. It's next week. Got it. That's one.
Yeah, this is the window for this, which is so fantastic. I love it. But I just was sharing it anyway.
Yeah. Well, I'll share the link in the chat, and then if you want, you can try and add it to the resource board. You just go to events and then click this plus, and then it'll bring up things so you can list it.
Yeah, I need to go to that. Taxes.
Yeah, that's I think that's most of the update for network development. Anyone, any questions? Great, we can go to our food security awareness campaign working group then. We met earlier at the beginning of the month and had a good conversation. We had done a poll to for everyone in the working group to vote on the name for the campaign, and was hoping that we'd be able to like settle on and finalize the name during the meeting, but we didn't quite get there. I'd say we got close. We have kind of a few different options we're trying to decide between, which are all good. So yeah, in the next, we're going to talk with some of the communications folks in the county and HHS and see if we can get some of their feedback on some of the options we're considering, and then finalize our campaign name. And we also talked about, essentially we talked about starting with some of the core components of the campaign. So things like flyers and yard signs and social media content and website page. And really getting all that information kind of solidified first. And then seeing based on both kind of the remaining budget that we have, and then also I don't know what I'll say kind of success we have in getting those materials out. What other strategies we want to pursue, whether it's, we've talked about billboards, someone brought up the idea last time of kind of like hiring like ambassadors to go to community events or I don't know, to other places and organizations to kind of do the like face-to-face explaining what the campaign is and how people can get involved. We've also talked about kind of hosting events. So there are a lot of other ideas of ways the campaign could grow, but decided that we're going to start with kind of those core components. So we'll be working on those for the next few weeks.
How has like the engagement been with the working group? Like, is it a sizable group? I'm just asking because with the network development working group, we've definitely lost a few members. I'm just curious how engaged non-leadership team people are.
Yeah, we have, I'd say like about 10 people, plus or minus a few that are coming to it somewhat regularly. That does include Shannon and Carla. So there is, some more leadership team involvement, but yeah, there are a handful of other folks who are participating. Yeah, I don't know, Shannon, Carla, if either of you have anything else you add about where we are with that group.
I think we're making progress. I think there's a lot of potential for the group to make a huge impact and difference. We've all seen how much awareness drives sort of community engagement around food security over the last year. So I think we're at an exciting point and there's a lot of potential.
I was going to say something similar. I'm really hopeful just because I've seen the community really step up and be more a part of the solution to this problem. And it's exciting. And I feel like all of the organizations and partners are thinking more collaboratively and really looking for more education around the topic. So I feel hopeful, and I think I feel like we're on the right track.
Great, thanks. Glad to have the validation information there. Okay, so then last working group update, the farmer development working group. Well, I was gonna say we had a meeting, I guess it was last week that I was not there for, but Rachel led. Hey, do you want to share?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I guess obviously the working group is designed to bring more food production and non-food producing farmers to the county, right? And one of the projects that we're focusing on right now is a mentor program between younger beginning farmers and more experienced or older folks. So we're doing an event in February. We can get it all planned correctly, more of like a working session to bring in potentially interested mentees and interested mentors and really like design that together as a county. So yeah, it's like the biggest focus.
Yeah, it seemed like the last meeting was really just focused on this event planning and kind of finalizing the agenda and talking through that. It's going to be I think February 24th or 25th, right around the end of the month. So yeah, we'll be to finalize the last details and then we'll be starting to promote it soon. So yeah, let's send that. We'll be putting together a flyer and send that out to the leadership team, and if you all can send it to anyone in your networks that that you think would be interested or have other ideas of places we can promote it. Yeah, appreciate that help. Any questions on farmer development? Let's go to our other updates. So Core Community Council also planning an event at the end of February, our first Core Community Council meeting of the year. Again, this is kind of in collaboration with the Food Policy Council and the Montgomery Anti-Hunger Network, and it's a meeting for kind of the full network of pantries, food banks, and food meal providers. And so I think we have shared this at a last meeting that this upcoming meeting at the end of February, we're going to be working with the Office of Public Health, the emergency preparedness team, and they are we've been finalizing a survey that we're going to send out through MON to kind of the full network to get feedback about the kind of response to the pause and SNAP benefits, to get a sense of like what was the increase in demand that pantries experienced, what for the challenges that they faced in trying to respond, what things maybe worked well in that, and kind of how can we learn from those lessons and use that to plan for future disruptions or things like that. So we'll be printing out that survey soon, and then at this upcoming meeting, we'll be talking through those results and, again, just trying to have some discussion about like how can we plan for and try and be prepared for future disruptions. So yeah, excited for that conversation. Again, that's the end of anything else on that?
I would just invite anyone who's interested to come. It's been really refreshing talking with the disaster response people. They're really brilliant and they have lots of ideas, and they're not the same ideas that we're always thinking of in food security, which is really, it's just exciting to have a new perspective. So feeling optimistic that might really help. So everybody's welcome to join us if you're interested.
Yeah, we can include the
virtual.
Yeah, it's going to be hybrid, so it'll be in person at the Jenkintown Food Cover, but then there will be a virtual opportunity as well. Yeah. All right, so next update here, the Pennsylvania Food Policy Council had a meeting, a convening at the farm show. Was it 1 week ago? Yeah.
Yes.
Last week.
Last
Friday. Yeah, it was a kind of meeting for local regional food policy councils across the state. And I know a handful of folks here were able to attend, and so I was curious to just have a little debrief or share kind of what folks learned or took away from that to put everyone who was able to go on the spot without warning. If you want to share any takeaways or reflections from that event, that'd be great.
You want to go first?
You know.
I thought it was a good meeting. It was compared to the one I went to last year. I thought it was much better attended. There were a lot of people in the room. And I think that it was nice to see that there was momentum from people, and people came from across the state. So it wasn't just Philadelphia, Pittsburgh thing. There were people from all over the place there. So that was nice to see. If anything, I wish that some of the speakers could have talked to us for longer periods of time. And the one comment that I had that I think I shared with your colleague, that there's a lot of talk about what various food policy councils did, as you were mentioning, during the uncertainty of SNAP benefits being paused, but very little discussion about resiliency and how to sustain support for people who need it in the long term. That, there was, I think the general manager of Weaver's Way was there, for example, just to give you an example. And he talked about how they have a tiered membership structure, which I thought was really interesting, so that people who can afford to pay a little bit more for a membership pay more, and people who can't afford the cost of a full membership are carried through with the extra money that is collected from the dollars that are collected from the higher membership costs. So there's room for everybody there, but then when all of a sudden there was this need for extra dollars, they were able to fundraise and have all of that money available to help people in the short term when their staff benefits seemed uncertain. But then what happens when the next crisis comes in? I don't think that this is the end of attacks on assistance for food or assistance for housing. So there will be more emergencies, and we can't just rely upon the generosity of people who have money to spare. So what can food policy councils do to have more of a reserve, more resources available having more of and this is kind of what you were getting at with this disaster preparedness stuff, more of a long-term vision for how to sustain communities when the benefits get cut or go away or whatever.
Thanks for sharing that, Anne.
Well, I have a question for maybe whoever's gonna share. Like, I'm curious, what are other food policy councils in the state working on? Like, what are other projects? If they shared that.
They did not.
Oh, really? Like, is anyone doing a mentorship program or, you know, like, what are
No, that was, I think, a shortcoming of the agenda. There was time devoted at the beginning of the day to introducing yourself.
Yeah.
And where you come from and you know, what your interest in food or food policy councils is. But not a lot of time for sharing what some local successes might have been. That was something that Shannon brought up as something she had, you know, she wished she could have seen during the day. There were talks from some state officials. The Secretary of Agriculture was there. There were some other folks from other affiliated agencies that participate in the state food policy council, but and some talk about legislative possibilities, but not a lot of talk about what other food policy councils are.
Yeah, I'll just say quick. So I was on the planning committee, I guess, for the event. I ended up not meeting this weekend. And we had originally like wanted to include that kind of thing, like in the introduction, you know, talk about some of the work and projects you have or the ones that you want to chat with other people about. But then as like other officials got added to the agenda, you know, we needed to move some things around and it had to be the one that that's part of where we had to cut time from. Yeah, I think initially it was just going to be Secretary Redding, but then it was, you know, Deputy Secretary from DHS and then someone else, and then DEP wanted to do, so there were like a few other things that got added, so.
There is interest, I think, in convening more often. I don't know if that's something that's going to be doable, but even if it was just a virtual get together, so that people didn't have to travel to convene, I think that there is interest in having more shared resources, more frequent conversations. Not that you need more to do, but I think people felt energized from the day.
I just echo everything you said. I mean, I think you covered it really well. One comment that I really thought was interesting from the state chair of the Department of Health, the Secretary of Health, I think it was.
Yeah.
She's a MD and she said the 3 leading causes of death in the United States are all food-related diseases, heart disease, diabetes, and I can't remember what the third one was. But I hadn't heard it said that pointedly, and I thought that was really just insightful and interesting.
Yeah, thanks for figuring that out.
It was cancer.
Cancer. Yeah, it was cancer. That was the third one.
It's like a powerful framing. Great. Well, yeah, I'm not sure if was anyone else able to attend or anyone else have either questions or comments about the meeting, either again if you were able to attend or based on and Shannon's collections from it.
So was it facilitated by Dawn Fulmer?
Yeah, this is facilitated. Yeah. Our planning team is having a debrief meeting next week, so I'll share, you know, your feedback there. Yeah, and we'll see. I'm hopeful that someone will be able to take on the mantle of convening councils across the state. Like you said, even if it's virtually. Yeah. I'm tempted to take that on, but I feel like
No, we talked about that.
It's just like the leaders, like meeting at least, you know, you could disseminate it to us.
Yeah.
It is, I mean, it is interesting. I sit on the advisory council for school meals for the Pennsylvania Food Policy Council. But if there's so many food policy councils happening across the state, it would really be beneficial for us when we're planning the Pennsylvania Food Action Plan to bring up the information from all the local food policy councils as well. I think that would really help form that plan.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know that's something Don's, been interested in and wanting to do for a long time, but also it just kind of lacks the bandwidth or capacity to really.
It's just hard.
Yeah, exactly, and pull that together, so.
I mean, we spent time talking about how we could have a better network across the state. Maybe this is something that students in the room have some insight into. Just the fact that we use different platforms to communicate. Some of the entities in the room work off of Google platforms. They use Gmail, they use Google Drives, and the state does not have access to Google products. They use Microsoft products. That's the same here for Montgomery County. We use Microsoft Teams, we use Microsoft Word, and so we technically cannot access that shared Google Drive where we could put all of those resources or have an email list based off of Google. Technically, like, we're not supposed to be able to do that, and the state doesn't want to get entangled in doing that either. So how do you have something that everybody can access when some people are doing it because it's their professional direction and some people are doing it because they're just interested in food? Like, even that was something that we couldn't quite figure out.
Yeah, it's been an ongoing conversation, like kind of bubbles up every, because there isn't an easy answer for it. Yeah. If anyone wants to take that one on, and again.
If you know of a platform that nobody has, a ban on, I'm all for it.
What seems like you need for the state, what your network development group did for, I was thinking the same thing. Right, so if you have a statewide version of that with those same kind of categories and that it's more like just a board that you can post and share, that might not be a bad thing.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion. Yeah, you can offer Padlet as a potential tool and see what people like. All right. Well, thanks. Ann and Shannon for sharing your thoughts about it. And sorry for not giving you a heads up that was meant to be engaging. All right, well, we're talking about communication platforms and things. That's a good segue to I just wanted to share some data that received recently from our communications team here within HHS about kind of Food Policy Council communications. So I have this little report we put together. I'll bring some links here. Oops, that is too much. So this shows we have kind of a few different categories: website, social media, and email. And so it's kind of comparing last year to this year. And I will say last year, it wasn't until March that we set up the Food Policy Council website. And wasn't until like August that the council started meeting and there was kind of information that was posted there. So we've done a lot more in 2025. But also like the growth that we've seen here is really significant, and it was really kind of exciting to get this, to get this information and put it together this way. So the first category here, website events, that's like a kind of scrolling down a page or clicking on a link or anything that someone does while they're engaging with the website. So yeah, that went up by like 32,000. Our users also, we have a ton of more engagement with the website and new users. A lot of those are new users. So yeah, that was great to see. I'm gonna jump over to this tab, which just shows, we have a few different pages on our website. And so in terms of like which ones people are actually accessing, again, this column is for 2025 farmers markets. Seems like it was the one that was most visited, which was really surprising to me. But it's funny, I have been thinking, so I put together the last few years this guide that lists all the farmers markets and their hours and times and everything. And it's always just like a hassle to put it together. And I was like, I don't know whether I should do that this year or not. But now seeing that 20,000 people, 23,000 people are visiting the website, it's like, okay, I guess that's worth doing. And then kind of right behind it was our Snap, the Snap page. Had a lot of visitors, which was interesting to see. So yeah, that's a little bit more detail on the website data. In terms of our kind of social media, so these leadership team meetings are all streamed on Facebook. Facebook, I guess, they started deleting them after they've been up for a month. So they started that, I think it was September of this year. So we don't have the total number of views to compare. But we're able to get the December number, and there are 300, almost 230 people who viewed our meeting. I know, it's always like shocking. But, so we did start, just so there's kind of a record of them, we started moving them over to YouTube after the meeting is done. And so, not as much viewership on YouTube, but we've had some there. And yeah, in terms of Facebook posts, reach is kind of number of people who have viewed the content that we posted. Engagements are when someone, like clicked or reacted or engaged with it in some way. So again, pretty significant increases there. Yeah, go ahead.
Is that 330 number, is that just like they clicked and started the video? Or does that mean they watched it all the way through?
I don't know, that's a good question. I can't imagine there are 330 people that are spending an hour and a half watching our meetings. But I'll ask Caitlin and see if she can clarify if it's, if someone scrolls past and watches it for 5 seconds and then they keep scrolling, if that counts as a view or not. Yeah.
We should just take these as wins. Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, not get more information about what it means. Show our popularity. Yeah, and then in 2024, we did kind of a whole campaign about farmers markets on social media. And so we didn't do that in 25. So that's these numbers. There's no kind of comparison for. And then last thing is our email list. It grew, by a good amount, by just about 200 people this year, and our open rate dipped a little bit, but it's still pretty high. So
That includes your newsletters. Right?
Yeah.
That's a crazy high.
Well, 71% of 330 is less than 67% of 527. Right?
It's like open rate's like only 10 to 15% is what I've always heard.
Yeah.
Newsletters.
Yeah, I don't.
So that's like really good.
No, I think it is a good rate. I forgot. There's a little bit more data here. Caitlin and Tammy are comms people, did like a ton of work to pull this all together. But this is for each post this is the social media stuff. So each Facebook post, it shows the total number of views and engagements. So again, looking at which ones were kind of most popular is definitely changes to Snap, information about that. And then Adventure was our second, 2 different posts about that. Yeah. Again, we only had like 8 people who participated in Adventure, so like have to figure out how to get, like, people are seeing it, right? So how to kind of get the next step from seeing it to actually engaging and participating is it's helpful for us to have that information. And then this is our, just in terms of emails, it shows these are all the emails that we sent last year, and the open rates for each of them. So yeah, it's mostly newsletters and then reminders for our general membership meetings. It's most of what we have sent out. Any other questions or reflections based on this communications report?
I think it just shows if we need to get or need to communicate about certain things, like we can see which are the most impactful and kind of to hone it on that. So I think this is really useful.
Yeah, agreed. It was, some of the stuff was surprising to me, to see that, farmers market and that I eventually engaged with that we got there. And yeah, definitely helpful to keep about to build on that, to continue some of that. It will be interesting to see this year, again, kind of when we're comparing the full year of operations, I guess, to another full year. True. Yeah. All right. So yeah, then I think just kind of 2 quick things here before we start to wrap up. I did want to share, I think I mentioned, but I've been working on a annual report for the Food Policy Council, kind of summarizing what we did last year. I'll just kind of walk quickly through the draft that that I have here. So just a little intro letter. Teresa told me I should put pictures of myself in the next slide. And then pictures of all of you as well. Yeah, just overview, mission, vision, and leadership team. And yeah, then just kind of goes through like the work that we did this past year. So we have our general membership meetings. Also just other data points. We had 170 people attend. Kind of that's total attendance on all 4 of our meetings. A couple pictures of them. Just like quick summaries of our working groups, where they are. Again, some data points that there are 18 working group meetings last year with 133 attendees. Page about adventure. Page about food systems infrastructure grants. Summary of all the grantees. Overview of SNAP response, the actions that we take on it, and then some stories, just kind of some of the connections that we were able to help facilitate through the Food Policy Council. Thanks, Rachel, for that sharing there. And yeah, and then that's it. Then that kind of quick wrap up what we had. So trying to finalize the content now, and then we'll be working with with our communications team to make that look nice. Quick overview of what that looks like. All right, so I mentioned 2026 work plan. We're not going to get to today. So just a quick reminder for new committees. I had shared via email like a short description of the policy and general membership planning committee. No kind of pressure or obligation to sign up for either. Folks are busy and involved with lots of other committees and things, but they're both things that we had, as a leadership team, we had talked about kind of having an interest in starting. So wanted to kind of assess the interest there. So just a quick reminder, a few folks filled out that form. Even if you're not interested, if you can fill it out so that I know that there's an option to say like, I don't want to sign up for any new committees right now. So you can just put that one. I think if you could do that by the end of next week, I'll send a reminder, but by the end of next week, so we can figure out if there's enough interest to do those, or if not, then we can come back to it another time. So yeah, just wanted to give that quick reminder. I think that's then all that I have. Does anyone have any announcements, updates, things that they want to share before we wrap up?
I actually have a question too, but first my announcement. So last year, Norristown Area School District Food Service Department, I'm going to say we kind of piloted the USDA Summer Food Service Program. This year we're really launching into it. So any summer camps, summer programs, libraries, we can run open sites that's available to anybody coming in, or provide meals for sites and things like that, churches, existing programs, whatever. So I just wanted to make the announcement that we're looking for sites who are interested in getting free breakfast and lunch, or breakfast and snack, or breakfast, snack and lunch and combinations, but to reach out to them if you know of any sites or anything like that. So
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. Is there a time frame that people need to sign up for that, or?
I'd really like to have an idea, ideally in a perfect world tomorrow. No, but I'd really like to have an idea by the end of February how many sites we're going to have. Because I need to hire staff for the summer. But even once we get our staff onboarded, if there's some late stragglers, we probably can work it out.
Anywhere within the footprint of the Norristown
Area School District. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Just thinking, I don't know if you have like a blurb, you basically kind of yeah.
I have a flyer. I can send you the flyer.
Great.
It's not super detailed, but if somebody's interested, just reach out.
Yeah. If you can send over the flyer, then we can help try and get that out, see if there is any interest.
The question I had was around the food pantries, and I know there was a spike during that period of time where maybe SNAP benefits weren't getting out, or the uncertainties around that. Are numbers still continuing to be that high, or are we seeing them go down? Like they kind of like spiked and then just have never decreased? I'm just trying to understand what that looks like.
Yes, so overall, I would say the numbers have stayed as high as they were there. I did hear from one or two food pantries that they had numbers go down slightly as of sort of middle of January, which is typical. But numbers seem to be staying high. And we continue to see minus 2020 record attendance. So 60% increase in 2023, and then about 10%-ish in 24 and 25 increases in food pantry visitations each year.
Thank you.
That is one thing in the survey that we're putting out around the SNAP stuff, asking pantries like, what was the average number that you served in a week before? What was like during the 2 weeks that SNAP benefits were paused? Like, what kind of numbers were you seeing? And like since then, kind of to address your question, like have those numbers gotten back to normal, or where are you? So we'll have some more concrete data to be able to point to about that hopefully soon. Yeah. All right, anyone else have other announcements or updates, things they want to share?
I will just share.
Yeah, go ahead, Carla.
This is Carla. I'm hoping that everyone received an invitation to the ribbon cutting that's a part of the Food Policy Council. Sam, please feel free to send that out again if you haven't sent it out to the network. But the ribbon cutting for the Share Food Program, Montgomery County Lansdale Warehouse, is on Thursday, January 29th from 12 to 1. So there will be comments by our commissioners and other folks in this food system world, and ribbon cutting and food, and some light refreshments. So please, if you have time, come through. If you haven't seen the warehouse, come through. And we look forward to seeing some of you there. That's it.
Thanks, Darla.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard Carla, but there were a few folks in the room saying they're going to be there. Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, I think with that, we can wrap up. Thanks everyone for joining, and we will be in touch soon.
Okay, everyone, have a great weekend and be safe.
Absolutely.
Based on the anticipated snowfall.
It's been increasing since we got here. It was like 9 inches and now it's up to 10 inches.